Hello and welcome again to Inktober Tangles challenge. It's day 28. We are so close to the finish line of this month of October, of this challenge. And today we have another flower. The name is actually Flowder, it's not flower. It's by Hilde van Ginhoven, and I will maybe add a few more flowers, maybe 2 of them on top. It's a cute one, it doesn't have to be big, so maybe I will add one here and one here so that there's some balance between the sides. I like to repeat the same tangles in different sections of the work that I'm working on, because it adds some balance and it makes everything more cohesive. So, wrong pen, here's the right one. I will start with, actually it's a figure or a number 8. And it doesn't need to be perfect, it doesn't need to be symmetric. Go for it for a shape that's not symmetric, actually, for the reasons that I already explained. And then I will add some shapes that start from the top and then meet in the middle. And you can do narrower and do more of them. You can do wider and do less. I will rotate the tile because it's just easier for me to repeat a similar stroke. It doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be too similar either. But I will make it like this. So this is the basic shape of Flowder. So it's not flower, it's Flowder. And then you can maybe decide to embellish it. And I'm not sure what I will do. I'm improvising as I usually do. Just little dots to make it more interesting, so to add some points of visual interest like this. And then I think I will add a stem to it, and I will add it in a way that it will go over this top side of the letter E. But then I will make it disappear behind this, the rest of the letter. Let me just figure out how I will place it exactly, and the solution will occur as I'm adding one stroke at a time again, not really pre-planning things. So I will make it disappear. Maybe I should have done it like this, and then I'm kind of imagining that it goes below. And it doesn't matter that there's color and that there's black ink here, because I will just use my jelly roll to cover that, and it might need maybe more than one coat. That's fine. And then I can retrace the rest of the letter E, and while I'm doing this thicker aura around it, I can also change the shape a little bit if I want to. It's not like I will necessarily do it, but you can. When you have these black auras, then you can also make a shape a little bit thinner and thicker. Okay, I did my E. I want to do some roundings right here in some of these nooks. And I'm not sure if I will ink this in. I will probably elongate this stem towards the bottom, but I will wait to see what tangles I will use and how I will use them. So this is it for now. And for the shading, I will do more or less the same as I did before. So I will add shades around the tangles that are here, and this time I'm kind of trying to add these shades with a little bit lighter touch so that it's easier to smudge them. And I can always come in with another layer. Okay, I want to add some here, and I will add it here, and I will consider inking in this around the stem in the middle, because that's, you know, there's not too much room between the shapes. And if I do ink in, I will be consistent with what I did in some other parts. I can show you, just let me blend this. A little bit of shade here, so you can see it maybe here, how I inked in those little spaces, those smaller spaces that I have between the tangles and other shapes. And because this little part of the stem is shaded, it has to be, because it's in the back, it's not, oops, it's not in the focus. What happened here? If somebody could explain what happened here, I would be grateful. It's like my hand just went, you know, out of its root. And I want to add some shades to create shades between or below some of my, let's call them petals of this Flowder tangle. And maybe I don't know if it needs anything, but I think I will just add little orbs on top of it, even if I don't need those orbs, or if the flower doesn't need them, I will just add them. So now to shading. Inside the flower there's not too much space for highlights. I'm sorry, not shading, but for the highlights. So I will just add a little bit, and then I will enhance them with my white gel pen. Again, just on the very top part, which would probably receive the shiniest highlights. Well, that's it. That's very close to the original version of this tangle. Maybe I can make these a little bit brighter in those sections that are not shaded. And perhaps I will add another one here, because I have some space here to nest them. And let me just rotate my tile. Right here, I think I will maybe start not with an 8, but with these. So it's like two rice shapes. It's not a number 8, but it kind of is stylized. And then I will do the same with these petals. And I think I will add another one right here. It will be a little bit different. It doesn't really matter if it's nicer or not. Again, I'm just being playful with what I'm adding here. And I think I will also add a stem below it, and the stem would go, I'm thinking if I want to weave it somehow into the letters, but I have discontinued my letter K here, so I might not need. I'll just add it here, and for this I will need my pencil to be sharp. Okay, I want to just add a little bit of white here so that you can see that this stem goes behind. And now for the little embellishments, I will keep these embellishments simple. It's like, it actually looks quite similar to what a bouquet of flax tangles would look like. I think it's quite cute, this one. And now a little bit of shades just to try to make it pop, or maybe come alive, or maybe look a little bit more 3D, which is not so simple because we have very limited space here. So I need to work in this narrow space and be careful with how I apply and blend the shades. I'll blend it, but I'm thinking about adding a little bit of shade to the bottom part of these central bigger guys, and then I can play with adding highlights to the top, and it will look like they're folded. I press my the white pencil quite strongly against paper so that I can relieve more white trace, that it really integrates with the fibers of the paper. Sometimes people ask me, why is my white pencil I'm using the same, why is it not as bright as yours? And I always tell them I have a heavy hand, and when I use this white, I really try to make sure that I'm pressing. And I'm also adding shades to this part here. It somehow seems right. Again, a little bit more drama on this bottom part of the flower. It's a cutie, in my opinion, and just maybe little dots of white gel pen to fit into these narrow spaces on top of the individual petals. And that's it, I think. I think that's it for today. I think that might be it for the flowers in general. I have this space right here which is not big enough for a flower, but it's big enough for some mucas, right? So I will just add a few mucas. And because everything is so busy, I think that this kind of bloom on top without any solid borders will add a nice contrast. Always adding these roundings, and then coarse shades, and just adding these roundings is sort of the beginning of the shading process, because it contributes to the shading so much. In my humble opinion, it does. And if you want to skip it, if you don't like it, feel free to do the shading and everything the way that it suits your style. Now, while I'm adding these graphite traces that will be blended later, I'm kind of moving my hand across the part that's already shaded and highlighted on the right side. And if you want to preserve it, you can use a piece of paper or laminated paper or something like that and put it behind your or below your hand to avoid smudging. But I'm not like, I never feel like it's so precious. It's just a drawing, and I can always add more white if I'm not happy with those contrasts, and it's perhaps I will do something like that. So the shades are there, and of course I want to add some highlights, maybe a little shade right here, and then my jelly roll to enter into these narrow spaces. But I feel like my jelly roll, have a piece of paper, maybe a little bit softer paper on the side so that you can just try it on the side, on a blotter or something. And that's it. So this is, I think, a nice bloom that we have here on top. I will keep looking at it until I decide that we are done with the whole thing. And if I feel that there's something missing, I will add. But for now, it seems nice. And we have 3 more tangles to follow, and I think that maybe 2 of them will be here, and I will add 1 on this side, and I hope that finally it will all look like a cohesive and nice drawing after we are done. Thank you again, and I will see you tomorrow with tangle number 29. Bye.